Hi everyone. So you're thinking about moving to Oklahoma City, but you're just not sure if it makes sense for you or your family. Well, to help get you over the hump, let me ask you a question. Depending on where you'll be moving from, how would you like to potentially cut your cost of living by half? Yeah, you heard me right. Cut it in half, while maintaining the same or better standard of living you're accustomed to. Think you could use that kind of boost to your disposable income? What would you do with that kind of extra money? Maybe pay down debt, buy a rental property or two, save for retirement, take really, really nice vacations every year? There's lots of possibilities, but it even gets better than that. What if as part of the deal, you could also end up living in a much nicer, much larger house than you had before? Does anyone want to take me up on that kind of offer? Yeah, I thought that might get your attention. So in today's video, we're going to dive deep on just what it costs to live in Oklahoma City, and to make things interesting, and let's put things in context, let's see how Oklahoma City compares to other parts of the U.S. and why moving here just might turn out to be the best financial decision you've ever made. So first, let's talk about Oklahoma City in general. Oklahoma City has a lot going for it. Many folks seem to agree, since there's a lot of people moving here all over the country. And they're taking advantage of all that the place has to offer. If you'd like to know more about the pros of living here, check out this video where I talk about the positives. Is it the perfect place? Well, no, but no place is perfect. I talk about all the cons of living here in detail in this video. So I mentioned that people are moving here from all over the country. So I was curious, where are all these people coming from? So I did a little research. I found a Substack article on the topic, and not surprisingly, many of the people coming here come from adjacent states. So Texas comes in at number 1, Colorado's number 2, Arkansas is number 3, and Kansas is number 5. But what really surprised me was the state that came in at number 4. Anyone want to take a guess which state that is? I'll wait. Well, if you guessed California, you'd be right. And after reading the Substack article, I found an article on Redfin that confirmed what the Substack article was saying. So in the Redfin article, it talked about, referring to people moving to Oklahoma City, it said, quote, Los Angeles residents searched to move to Oklahoma City more than any other metro, followed by Dallas and San Francisco. What they're saying there is there are more people from LA were searching about moving to Oklahoma City, but there also were people from San Francisco searching to move to Oklahoma City and Dallas. Now Dallas makes sense because it's in Texas. It's close by. But San Francisco and LA? So just look at this migration map that was part of the Redfin article that shows where the people are coming from, or at least where the most interest was coming from with regards to moving to Oklahoma, excuse me. So why are Californians interested in moving to Oklahoma? Is this a reversal of the Grapes of Wrath, the John Steinbeck novel, where all the Okies headed to California during the Dust Bowl days of the 1930s since they were looking for work? They were desperate to find employment. No, I don't think it's anything like that. More likely it's because of something like this, maybe? Maybe this? Could it be this? How about this? And last but not least, could this be the reason people are packing up and heading east? Well, how about maybe all of the above? Many Californians, they've had enough. They just frankly had enough. The Census Bureau just released some startling information just in the time period just from April 2020 to July 2022. 293,000 people said goodbye to LA and moved out of state. Nearly 300,000 people just got up and left. 66,000 people left San Francisco to move out of state. Now, over the same time period, if you look at the entire state, California's overall population dropped by 500,000 people as the exodus continues. And by the way, if you think that's a lot, that's second only to New York, which lost 515,000 people during the same 2-year period. My neighbors are a retired couple. They're about my age, and they just moved here from Temecula, California, just outside LA. So they moved here without knowing a soul. And they love it here. And part of the reason they love it here is for a lot of the financial reasons we're about to get into. So if we use LA as a proxy for other high-cost cities on either coast, let's see how Oklahoma City stacks up cost-wise, and if it really is as affordable as it appears. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to break this comparison down into 8 key categories of expenses: transportation, healthcare, entertainment, food and clothing, utilities, childcare, taxes, and the biggie, housing. Number 1, transportation. My kids are grown now, but we used to take trips to Disneyland, so I know about getting the rental car and heading to California, all that. So if you've headed to California like I used to and rented a car recently, you know that transportation in LA It is shockingly expensive, and when do you find that out? When you have to fill up the rental car before you have to head back to rental car return. Current average price of a gallon of gas and unleaded in LA is hovering between $5 and $5.50 a gallon. That's down from $6 to $7 a gallon. That's good, I guess. But I just paid $2.95 a gallon yesterday to fill up my Honda Accord. So that's right, gas is at least 70% more expensive in LA than in Oklahoma City. And you know what? What would be especially infuriating if I lived there and lived in LA is knowing you paid that much for gas and then having to burn fuel doing this every day. So before we head to number 2, let me take a second. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lynn Taggart. I'm a realtor in Edmond, Oklahoma with Coldwell Banker Select. Oklahoma City's been my home for over 60 years. I grew up here, went to school here, married here, bought my first house here at 14% interest rate. Thank you very much. Raised my 2 sons here before becoming a realtor. I worked here as a petroleum engineer, most recently for Devon Energy. It's the largest oil and gas company in the state, in the Devon Tower, which is the tallest building in the state. I also worked for many years as a marketing executive for Sonic Drive-Ins, the well-known fast food chain. So a lifetime of living here means a lifetime of knowledge about this place that I call home. I'm eager to help you to put that knowledge to use if you're thinking about making a move here. So with the introductions out of the way, let's resume our cost comparison. Let's go to number 2. So number 2 is healthcare. So in this area, costs, they're about the same. Healthcare costs in Oklahoma City are a little cheaper, 10 to 15% cheaper than they are in LA. It's not a big cost savings. Every little bit counts, right? Number 3, entertainment. So entertainment here costs about nearly 18%, nearly 20% lower than in LA. What do I mean by entertainment? Things like concerts, movie theater tickets, museum admission, that kind of thing. And you know what? Now with the retreat of COVID-19, events like this, they've all opened up to the general public, so costs for entertainment once again becomes something to consider. Number 4, food and clothing. So continuing the trend, miscellaneous type expenses, things like food, clothing, office supplies, vet services, all those kind of things, they're 28% lower in Oklahoma City than they are in Los Angeles. Food costs are rising everywhere. We all know that. But they're rising a little less so in Oklahoma than they are in California. Number 5, utilities. So when it comes to utilities, and I'm talking about, when I say utilities, I'm talking about electricity, natural gas, and phone. LA and Oklahoma City they're about the same, so really no one has a real advantage in this area. Number 6, childcare. Huge difference when it comes to childcare costs. Childcare for those under school age in LA costs 97% more than it does in Oklahoma City. Over $1,400 a month in LA on average versus over $700 a month in Oklahoma City. For working parents with young kids, I mean, this is a huge drain on finances, and especially so if you live in LA. Number 7, taxes. I hate paying taxes. But at least in Oklahoma, I pay less of them than if I would if I was in California. State income tax in California, like many states, is tiered, so it ranges from 1%, but it peaks out at 13.3%. Ouch! In Oklahoma, state income tax maxes out at 4.75%. So if you've earned $60,000, your California state tax rate would be 9.3% versus 4.2% in Oklahoma. It's a big difference. State sales tax in California ranges from 7.25% to 10.75%. In Oklahoma, it's typically 4.5%. Property taxes are about the only place where California wins out. Property taxes there run 0.73% of home values, and in Oklahoma, they run about 0.87% of home values. So not a huge benefit there. If all these costs weren't bad enough, I'm talking about taxes weren't bad enough, if you happen to own a home in LA worth more than $5 million, for the LA residents that are watching this, you know that's not a stretch. And for everybody else watching it, you'll find that out when we talk about housing prices. So for those that have a home more than $5 million, I just found out that this week, California has passed a newly enacted mansion tax of 4%. So when you sell your $5 million home, you pay a 4% tax. And if the house is over $10 million, the rate jumps to 5.5%. And I got to think when I heard this, I thought, well, I wonder, maybe this new tax is because everyone's bailing out of California and moving out of state. And it's severely eroding the tax base, and they have to figure out a way to generate revenue. Now, this new mansion tax apparently also applies to apartment buildings. And there's a fear, I was reading, there's a fear that it may put a kink in many developers' plans since project economics, apartment project economics, may now not make sense with this new tax burdening their projects. Now we come to the elephant in the room when making cost of living comparisons. Housing, number 8. Everyone sit down, get ready, buckle up. Median home price in Los Angeles, California is, are you ready for this one? drum roll please, $978,000. $1 million is the average home price in LA. Yikes. Median average selling price per square foot in Los Angeles is over $600 a square foot. That is insane. Compare that to Oklahoma City, where the median home price is $258,700. And our average selling price is $151 a square foot. Let's put in terms of percentages. The average home in LA costs 278% more than the average house in Oklahoma City. In square footage basis, the average house costs 305% more than Oklahoma City. So let's flip the numerator and the denominator around and realize the average home in Oklahoma City is only 25% of the cost of an average home in LA. Price per square foot in Oklahoma City versus LA is, in Oklahoma City, it's only 25% of the cost per square foot in LA. These numbers are just ridiculous. I'm sorry. So what I thought I'd do is I'd show you some real world examples of some listings that are out there right now in both cities to help you keep all of this in context. Okay, so what does $1 million get you in Los Angeles, California? How about something like this? Yeah, that's about 950 square feet. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath home for $1 million. Or how about this one? And this is an actual listing. This is not a joke. This is an actual property that's on the MLS in Los Angeles. It's a Keller Williams listing. $1.1 million. It's 600 square feet. It's 1 bedroom and 1 bath. I kid you not. So what do you get in Oklahoma City? Well, how about this? For $1 million, how about this mansion? Has 7,500 square foot of livable space. Will that work for you? Is that big enough, you think? Oh, and by the way, it has a pool. So you're saying, well, Lynn, I don't need 7,500 square foot of space. I mean, that's ridiculous. Okay, you don't need that large of a house. How about this one? It's only $500,000. And it has 3,500 square foot of livable space. Oh, and by the way, it also has a pool. Way, way, way nicer than those houses in LA. And consider this. If you sold your average home in LA for the $1 million and you bought this house in Oklahoma City for $500,000, you could lay out by the pool at this house in Oklahoma City and you could dream about what you're going to do with the $500,000 that you just pocketed. That sounds pretty good. Heck, you could buy 2 houses for that one house, what that one house in LA cost you. Maybe let an older family member or adult child move here with you and use it. Or maybe you could buy your primary residence here and buy a vacation or lake house. Or instead of buying a vacation property, maybe you buy 2 or 3 smaller rental properties and generate some additional passive income. I mean, there's lots of options that open up with these kind of scenarios. And let's not forget about renters. So for the renters in the crowd, Oklahoma City is still a much better option financially. So a 1-bedroom apartment in LA rents for an average a little over $2,300 a month. In Oklahoma City, it rents for less than $1,200 per month, 50% less. Now, here's something to think about. Where you could really clean up is if your employer in LA lets you work remotely. So, could you potentially move here, live on your higher salary, working remotely? And by the way, the average salary in LA is 20% higher than Oklahoma City. Spend much, much less on living expenses, as we just discussed, and live in a much nicer, larger home, as we just discussed, with maybe a wad of leftover cash to spend, invest, or save as you see fit. So look at it this way. If you had a $60,000 salary in LA, you would only need a $39,000 salary in Oklahoma City to maintain your same lifestyle. And your cost of living would drop by anywhere from 65 to 80%, depending on income level. And remember, I mentioned at the outset, how'd you like to drop your living expenses by 50%? It could be even more. What's the bottom line of all that? You score big time. So when you compare the cost of living in Oklahoma to the rest of the country, looking at the bigger picture, not just one state, according to the U.S. News and World Report, Oklahoma ranks 2nd in terms of affordability, 3rd in terms of housing affordability, and we're 8th in terms of the cost of living. So what do you think? Have I convinced you that deciding to call Oklahoma City home might be a great financial move for you and your family? I hope you consider it. I really do. And in the meantime, you can call, text, or email me at the number shown below and let's chat about it. I'd love to meet you, and if you found value in this content, I'd also really appreciate it if you could hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also tap the notification bell if you like to know when I post new videos. I try to do it once a week. Doing so lets the YouTube algorithm know I'm on the right track with my audience. I'd also love to hear your comments below, and I'm curious if you too are thinking about making the move to Oklahoma City. If you are, if that's the case, be sure to check out my best and worst of Oklahoma City videos that I've made, shown here and here. Let me know in the comments what it is about Oklahoma City that interests you the most. Now, if you've already moved here, congratulations. Are you counting your money now? Let me know what your experience has been so far. So really, that's it for now. A lot of good information I hope you were able to benefit from. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers, everyone.